Rain-slicked streets reflected neon, like broken glass. A small child trembled, clutching a tattered doll. "Tranquillo va tutto bene," she murmured, voice trembling. The child's sob softened, eyes wide with trust. He stepped closer, shadow merging with shadows. A black coat, crisp lines, cold presence. He watched, heart tight, mind racing. Who was she? The child reached up, brushing wet hair from his forehead. Her fingers lingered, gentle, almost protective. She whispered something under her breath. A lullaby, soft, fragile. Footsteps echoed behind him, but he stayed frozen. Every instinct screamed danger, yet curiosity pulled him forward. She laughed quietly when the child mimicked her words, tiny lips shaping the foreign sounds. He caught himself imagining her smile in daylight. Rain splattered on the child's doll, water soaking the fabric. She tilted it, drying it with a trembling hand. The world narrowed to her warmth, the innocence of the child. A distant siren wailed, the neon flickered, casting shards of light across puddles like shattered mirrors. He felt the pulse of the city against his chest. She speaks Italian to calm him, he whispered, almost breathless. He clenched his jaw. Curiosity warred with caution. Every fiber of him demanded to know her name. She stood abruptly, brushing raindrops from her coat. Her gaze swept the street, then froze. Their eyes met. Time slowed. He felt the weight of her stare, calm yet probing. Her chest rose and fell, hesitant, measured. He pulled out his phone, thumb hovering. "Find everything about her," he said, voice low, deliberate. She didn't flinch, didn't move. She stepped forward, tiny footfalls and puddles. A shiver passed between them, electric, unspoken. Her eyes searched his, and for a moment the city vanished. The cafe smelled of espresso and wet leather. She cradled the child's hand, humming soft nonsense songs. Steam curled from the cup in her other hand, warm and fragile. He leaned against the doorway, silhouette sharp, eyes unreadable. Every movement measured, precise. His fingers tapped lightly against his coat. The rain outside drummed a steady rhythm, echoing in the quiet room. "Why are you watching?" she asked, voice quiet, cautious. He blinked, hesitation lingering at the edge of his jaw. Not a threat, but dangerous. A storm contained in a man. The child's giggle broke the tension. She smiled, soft and unaware, brushing a strand of hair from his forehead. The small gesture felt intimate, delicate, yet fearless. He took a step forward, just enough to see her face reflected in the window. Steam blurred the glass, framing her like a painting. Her eyes met his, steady, searching. "Some things can't be explained," he muttered, voice low, almost swallowed by the cafe's quiet hum. She tilted her head, curious, and smiled faintly. The child leaned closer to her, safe and trusting. His jaw tightened. Every instinct screamed to pull away, but something held him still. A hint of admiration, a trace of confusion, the sharp scent of coffee and wet streets. He didn't speak. He couldn't. Mini-movie moment. A spoon clinked against porcelain, small and sharp in the hush. Outside, a car splashed through a puddle, the water spraying like a warning. Inside, the warmth of the room cocooned them both, a fragile bubble. Her gaze flicked to the door, then back to him. A question hung in the air, silent, unspoken, almost daring. He leaned back slightly, still watching, calculating. The child tugged at her sleeve, laughing again, completely unaware of the tension threading the room. She whispered a small word, brushing his cheek. Gentle, human, and for the first time, he felt it. The flicker of something unguarded, fragile, real. His reflection in the glass blurred. A shadow moved behind it, but he ignored it, caught entirely in the quiet storm of her presence. She didn't flinch. She didn't look away. Her smile lingered, soft, patient, unknowing, and he realized something he hadn't admitted yet. Curiosity had become obsession. Eyes locked, questions unasked. A silent promise formed in that moment. Moonlight cut through narrow alleys, silver and sharp. Her hand brushed a stone wall, cold and rough beneath her fingers. She inhaled the damp night air, heart pounding, senses sharpened. A shadow shifted. He stepped forward, silent, deliberate. "You shouldn't be here," he said, voice low, edged with warning. She tilted her head, defiance softening into curiosity. I wasn't planning to leave, she whispered, almost a challenge. Rain splattered the rooftops, tapping a rhythmic, anxious cadence. The alley smelled of wet stone and distant smoke. She felt the weight of him, just a few steps away, watching, waiting. His eyes were unreadable, dark pools reflecting the moonlight. Why me? She murmured, voice trembling slightly. He hesitated, studying her, then breathed. Because you see too much. Mini-movie moment. A cat hissed in the shadows. A distant train rattled over tracks. Thunder rolled low, vibrating through the walls, echoing their unspoken tension. She shivered, not from cold, but from the gravity in his tone. I don't understand, she whispered, stepping closer, compelled by curiosity. He shook his head slowly, expression hardening. You never will. Not fully. Her chest tightened, a mixture of fear and fascination. Yet trust flickered, fragile, trembling, daring to bloom. She dared a small smile, tentative, dangerous. The rain intensified, drumming against her coat, soaking her hair. He reached out, a finger tracing a line along her wrist, almost protective, almost a test. Her eyes widened, heartbeat loud in the quiet night. You're not like the others, he said, voice almost a whisper. I could say the same, she replied, soft but steady, matching his gaze. Mini-movie moment, lightning split the sky, illuminating the alley in stark white. Shadows danced on walls, mirroring the tension between them, sharp and unpredictable. He stepped back, hands in pockets, posture rigid but eyes lingering. You need to understand what this world asks, he murmured. She nodded, swallowing the sudden lump in her throat. Her breath caught as he disappeared briefly into the shadows, then re-emerged, closer than expected, presence overwhelming. A silent question hung in the air between them, and in that frozen instant, she realized she had already stepped too far. Candlelight flickered in the abandoned warehouse, casting long, wavering shadows. Dust hung in the air, sparkling faintly with each movement. He traced the edge of a map, fingers trembling slightly, though he tried to hide it. She stepped forward, voice quiet but steady. You're not as cold as they say. His head snapped up, eyes sharp, then softened, almost a smile breaking through the darkness. Mini-movie moment. Thunder rolled outside, shaking the walls. Shadows danced across crates and broken glass. A gust of wind rattled a loose shutter, scattering papers across the floor. You should leave, he said, voice low, warning laced with something unspoken. Her breath caught. I can't, not now, she whispered, stepping closer. Her eyes searched his, daring him to show a crack, a human moment beneath the armor. He looked away, jaw tight, hands hovering over the scattered papers. For a second, vulnerability flickered in his eyes, raw and fleeting. She noticed it, felt it, and it drew her in further. Mini-movie moment. A single raindrop slipped through a crack in the roof, splashing onto the map, smearing ink across lines of strategy. He froze, staring at the blot, silent, caught between irritation and something else. You shouldn't be here, he murmured, almost to himself. She tilted her head, stepping closer, voice soft. Maybe I'm exactly where I need to be. A flicker of warmth passed through him, quickly buried under discipline and control. He moved toward her, slow, measured, but stopped just short. Her hand twitched, almost reaching for his. The space between them held a fragile tension, electric and impossible to ignore. Mini-movie moment. Lightning split the sky, illuminating the warehouse in harsh white light for a heartbeat. Dust motes shimmered in the sudden brightness, as if the room itself was holding its breath. You're playing a dangerous game, he whispered, eyes piercing. And so are you, she replied softly, daring him with a quiet strength. He exhaled sharply, a shiver running through his shoulders. She smiled faintly, feeling the unspoken invitation, and in that moment, the world outside the warehouse vanished. Rain poured, drenching streets and soaked hearts. She stumbled on the slick pavement, arms flailing, eyes wide. He caught her arm, holding her firm, fingers pressing into her coat. You don't belong here, he hissed, voice trembling, sharp with anger and something unspoken. She yanked lightly, stepping free. "I belong wherever I choose," she whispered, voice steady despite the cold. Mini-movie moment. Lightning split the sky, illuminating buildings like frozen giants. Shadows stretched across the wet asphalt, reaching like warning fingers, silent threats in motion. He followed her gaze, watching every step. Her hair plastered to her cheeks, eyes daring, defiant, unafraid of him, or maybe afraid of something else. Every instinct screamed to pull her close, to shield her, but the obsession crawling through his chest warned restraint. She laughed abruptly, a sound brittle but bold, splashing through puddles, with a careless energy. He couldn't look away. Every drop of rain seemed to mark the storm building between them. Mini-movie moment. A passing car sent a tidal wave across the curb, water sprayed, soaking her shoes. She didn't flinch. He exhaled slowly, lips tight, mind racing. "You're reckless," he murmured, voice low, almost a growl. "And you are too controlling," she countered softly, stepping closer again, eyes locked on his. Her hand hovered near his, almost touching, almost crossing boundaries he hadn't fully defined. The tension wrapped around them, thick as the storm, electric and suffocating. He clenched his jaw, torn between control and fascination, between protection and desire. Mini-movie moment. Thunder rolled, echoing through narrow alleyways, shaking the metal shutters of closed shops. A stray cat darted past, skidding through puddles, unnoticed by either of them. He took a step forward, gaze intense, unyielding. "Stay back," he breathed, but his fingers twitched as if reaching for her. She paused, sensing the pull of his storm, daring to challenge it. Rain dripped from the brim of his coat, soaking the collar, masking the tremor in his chest. Her lips parted slightly, a silent question hanging between them, heavy and urgent. And in that fleeting second, he realized he could either protect her or push her away, and both choices terrified him. Cigarette smoke curled in the dim light, twisting like restless shadows. He waited, posture rigid, every second heavy with tension, eyes restless, darting to the cracked window, rain hammering against the glass. "You lied," she accused softly, voice trembling, sharp with hurt. He flinched, jaw tightening. "I protected you," he murmured, voice low, avoiding her gaze. Mini-movie moment. Glass trembled in his hand, water streaking the window pane as lightning split the sky. The room smelled of wet asphalt, smoke, and tension thick enough to choke. Her silence pressed against him, heavier than words could ever be. He wanted to reach out, to explain, but the truth was a blade he couldn't wield. Every instinct screamed to bridge the distance, but fear pinned him in place. I don't understand," she whispered, voice breaking. "I can't tell you everything," he replied, voice raw, almost pleading. Her eyes narrowed, searching his, desperate for a crack, a truth, any hint of honesty. Mini-movie moment. Thunder rolled, rattling the shutters, echoing the storm inside them. Rain spattered the floor, a cold rhythm matching the pulse of their fractured hearts. She stepped back, arms crossed, a fragile wall between them. "You're different when you think I'm not watching," she said, voice quiet but cutting. He swallowed hard, chest tight, heart pounding. A pause stretched between them, long and suffocating. He wanted to reach for her, to explain, to confess, but the secrets weighed too heavily. Every shadow in the room seemed to lean closer, watching, judging, pressing in. Mini-movie moment. A single drop fell from the ceiling, splashing into a puddle near her feet. He blinked, focusing on her, desperate for something, anything, to hold on to. "I thought I could trust you," she murmured, barely audible. His gaze faltered, voice low, almost a whisper. "I wish you could." And in that moment both realized trust had become a battlefield, and neither knew if they would survive it. Her hand grazed his arm, electric, unspoken. He swallowed hard, breath hitching. "Not here," he murmured, voice low, guarded. Mini-movie moment. Footsteps echoed down the narrow street. A distant car door slammed, sharp and sudden. Rain-slicked pavement glistened under dim streetlights, reflecting their tense silhouettes. She tilted her head, eyes locked on his. "I can't help it," she whispered, barely audible. His chest tightened. Every nerve screamed caution, yet his fingers twitched as if drawn to her. Mini-movie moment. A cat darted past, claws clicking on wet cobblestones. A siren wailed far off, slicing the quiet. He stepped closer, close enough to feel her warmth, not close enough to cross the invisible line. Her hand lingered near his, brushing against his sleeve, teasing, daring him. He caught himself imagining her in daylight, softer, untouched by danger. The alley smelled of wet asphalt and distant smoke, sharp and real. "Someone's behind us," he whispered, voice taut, eyes scanning the shadows. Her lips parted, surprised, heartbeat audible in the sudden silence. She stayed, defiant, yet a shiver ran down her spine. Mini-movie moment. Lightning flashed, illuminating shapes moving in the distance. Shadows lengthened, uncertain. The wind whipped rain into their faces, cold, sharp, reminding them of the world pressing in. He clenched his jaw, mind racing, torn between shielding her and keeping his secrets. Her gaze never wavered, steady, challenging, and somehow trusting. He realized the storm outside mirrored the one building between them, wild, dangerous, irresistible. Her fingers brushed his again, fleeting, electric. He exhaled, voice low, almost a whisper. "We don't have much time." The echo of footsteps drew closer, and in that instant both knew. Danger was near, and someone was watching. She lifted the folder, hands trembling, photos spilling like memories she hadn't known existed. Her breath caught, sharp and sudden, eyes scanning faces, dates, locations. Mini-movie moment. Paper rustled under her fingers. Rain pounded the windows, a tense, relentless rhythm. Thunder rolled in the distance, shaking the edges of the room. "You were watching me all along," she whispered, voice barely audible, trembling. He leaned against the wall, arms crossed, jaw tight, eyes unreadable. Mini-movie moment. A clock ticked, loud in the quiet, marking seconds she wished she could take back. The air smelled of rain, paper, and something heavier, secrets waiting to surface. I needed to know," he said, voice low, hesitant, almost a plea. She stepped back instinctively, heart pounding, chest tight. The betrayal stung sharper than she'd expected, yet a flicker of something else lingered. Confusion, curiosity, the pull of him. Mini-movie moment. A single raindrop slid down the glass, catching the dim light like a tear. Her fingers trembled as she gripped the folder, holding it close to her chest. "You lied to me from the start," she breathed, eyes glistening, voice breaking slightly. "I protected you," he whispered, tone quiet but firm, almost desperate. The room felt smaller, the walls closing in with tension, unspoken truths pressing down. Mini-movie moment. Lightning illuminated the folder's contents for a heartbeat. Faces frozen, moments captured, proof of his hidden world. She blinked, stomach knotting, unsure whether to confront him or run. He stepped closer, slow, measured, gaze locked on hers. "You have to understand, not everything is as it seems," he murmured, voice low, trembling at the edges. Her hand shook, and in that moment, she realized everything she thought she knew about him was unraveling. Trust hung by a thread, and betrayal felt inevitable. Sirens screamed, piercing the night, echoing off narrow streets slick with rain. Shadows darted between buildings, fleeting and uncertain. He held her close, chest tight against hers, pulse racing like a drum in the dark. Mini-movie moment. Neon lights flashed across wet asphalt, reflections scattering like broken glass. Footsteps thundered behind them, rapid, relentless, closing the distance. Her fingers clutched his coat, trembling slightly, eyes wide but steady. "I trust you," she whispered, voice almost against reason, fragile yet fierce. He swallowed, jaw tight, gaze scanning the darkness for threats, calculating every step. Mini-movie moment. A car splashed through a puddle, water spraying in a sudden arc, catching them both by surprise. The air smelled of wet concrete, gasoline, and tension thick enough to choke. He pulled her behind a dumpster, body shielding hers, every muscle coiled. "Stay close," he murmured, voice low, urgent. Her breath mingled with his, warm, human, and impossible to ignore. Mini-movie moment. Lightning illuminated the alley for a heartbeat, revealing faces in the shadows, unknown, watching. She froze, heart hammering, but didn't pull away. "I'm not afraid," she said, voice soft, almost daring, though fear trembled beneath. He glanced at her, expression flickering between admiration and warning. The danger pressed around them, yet her presence ignited something fierce, unexpected, irresistible. Mini-movie moment. A metal gate rattled in the wind, distant shouts carried across the street. He tightened his hold on her, leaning close, lips barely brushing her hair. "We can't stop now," he whispered, voice low, strained. Her fingers twined with his, heartbeat sinking, defiance mingling with trust. And in that fleeting, impossible moment, they realized. Escape was uncertain, but together they felt unstoppable. Glass shattered, fragments skittering across the floor. A door slammed behind them, echoing through the empty room. He faced her, chest tight, muscles coiled, voice trembling. "You lied to me again," she breathed, words sharp, trembling with hurt. He swallowed, gaze flickering, eyes desperate. "I lied to protect you," he murmured, voice low, almost pleading. Mini-movie moment. Rain poured over rooftops, drumming a relentless rhythm. Thunder cracked, echoing like their hearts breaking in unison. Lightning illuminated the shards of glass at their feet, reflecting jagged truths. Her hand shook, brushing hair from her face, eyes searching his for a flicker of honesty. "Protect me? Or control me?" she whispered, voice soft but fierce. He flinched, throat tight, torn between confession and self-preservation. Mini-movie moment. A gust of wind rattled the windows, scattering papers across the floor. The room felt alive with tension. Every heartbeat between them hammered like drums in the silence. She took a cautious step forward, eyes narrowing, daring him to speak the truth fully. He inhaled sharply, chest rising and falling, fingers trembling at his sides. "You don't understand," he began, but faltered, voice breaking. Mini-movie moment. Thunder rolled again, longer this time, vibrating through the walls, shaking the floor beneath them. Raindrops streaked the windows, mirroring the turmoil inside. Her lips parted, fragile, voice almost a whisper. "Then help me understand." He swallowed, stepping closer, heat radiating, yet still a chasm of secrets between them. The air thrummed with unspoken words, desires, fears, everything they had yet to confront. Mini-movie moment. A single shard of glass caught the candlelight, scattering tiny sparks across the floor. He knelt briefly, gathering a fragment, eyes meeting hers, raw and open. "Can we survive this?" she breathed, voice trembling with hope and fear. He hesitated, every instinct screaming to pull her close, yet unsure if love could withstand betrayal. And in that suspended moment, the storm outside and the storm between them collided, beautiful, terrifying, inevitable. Streetlights flickered, casting long, wavering shadows across the wet pavement. Her hand lingered on his coat, warm, tentative, as if testing the fragile line between trust and fear. Mini-movie moment. A distant train rumbled, vibrating the street beneath their feet. The world seemed suspended, holding its breath. He tilted his head, gaze soft yet intense, voice low. "Stay with me." Her heart skipped, chest tightening, pulse loud in the quiet night. She hesitated, fingers brushing his coat again, torn between desire and reason. Mini-movie moment. Rain began to fall lightly, tapping a hesitant rhythm on the pavement, blending with the distant train's hum. The street smelled of wet asphalt, smoke, and possibilities. I don't know if I can," she whispered, voice trembling, barely audible. He stepped closer, close enough for warmth to brush her skin, eyes searching hers for a flicker of surrender. "Then don't think," he murmured, voice soft, urgent. "Just feel." Mini-movie moment. Neon signs flickered in the distance, reflecting off puddles, casting colors that danced across their faces. Her breath hitched. The air felt charged, thick with unspoken promises. Her fingers entwined with his, tentative at first, then firmer, as if testing the gravity between them. He held her gaze, every muscle taut, ready to protect, to fight, to risk everything for this moment. The world narrowed to rain, shadows, and the unspoken pull that refused to release them. Mini-movie moment. A passing car sprayed water across the street. They didn't flinch, caught entirely in each other's orbit. Time seemed to bend, stretching, fragile and infinite. "Stay," he whispered again, softer this time, almost a plea. Her lips parted, eyes glistening, mind torn, heart screaming. And in that heartbeat suspended between choice and surrender, she realized nothing would ever be the same. Dawn broke, soft and pale, spilling gentle light across the wet streets. She smiled faintly, brushing rain from her hair, eyes catching the first glimmers of morning. The city felt quieter now, calm after the storm, as if holding its breath for them. Mini-movie moment. Birds chirped softly, water dripping rhythmically from rooftops. Puddles shimmered like scattered diamonds. A breeze stirred, carrying the scent of wet earth and faint smoke from distant chimneys. He stood a few steps away, coat slightly damp, eyes tracing her every movement. She glanced at him, a mixture of relief and something deeper, something unspoken. Her fingers twitched almost unconsciously, longing and caution tangled together. Mini-movie moment. A pigeon landed nearby, fluffing its feathers. The sunlight caught droplets clinging to its wings. The soft rhythm of the city waking mirrored the fragile heartbeat between them. Sometimes the wrong person becomes the right one when love teaches us to see differently, she whispered, voice low, almost a confession. He exhaled slowly, shoulders relaxing, lips twitching in a faint, private smile. No words needed. The weight of everything past and yet to come hovered between them, tender and true. Mini-movie moment. Steam rose from a nearby manhole, curling into the morning light. A soft wind scattered tiny leaves across the pavement. She watched him, the unspoken acknowledgement of trust and care shimmering in her gaze. He stepped closer, close enough for warmth, but still respecting the quiet space between them. Her eyes softened, a fleeting touch of fingers brushing, gentle, intimate, saying everything words couldn't. And in that simple gesture, the world felt both fragile and infinite. Mini-movie moment. Sunlight reflected on a distant puddle, splitting into gold and silver. Shadows shifted slowly, calm after the storm. She breathed deeply, savoring the quiet, the subtle triumph of connection surviving the chaos. Her lips curved into a faint, serene smile, eyes glistening. The city stirred around them, but their world had shrunk to understanding, to presence, to love that didn't demand perfection. Sometimes, the most powerful truths remain unspoken, yet are felt in every glance, every touch, every heartbeat. If this story moved you, like and share to support more tales of love, redemption, and second chances, she whispered, voice gentle, carrying the warmth of a new day. And for a moment the rain, the shadows, and the city all seemed to nod in quiet approval.